good afternoon, good night, good day, wherever you are. And it's so exciting again, week after week, to sit here and to from all different corners of the globe and learn together. So each one and one of us as a KMer has a specialty and has a passion. And Rudy's passion is gamification. So even though he's a great KMer in so many disciplines, his greatest passion, if I understand correctly, is gamification. And if we know, or if we thought that we know what gamification is and what good gamification is, please wait and hear Rudolph, and we will learn today new ideas how to better gamify different processes and how to utilize gamification even more in our organizations. So, dear Rudolph, you may start.
Thank you very much, Moria, and good day, everybody, wherever you are in the world.
We don't hear you. We lost you. Rudolph, you did something with your... Okay, no, here you are again.
Yeah. So good day, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. This is a subject which I'm very passionate about. And when I got into the field of knowledge management, it was actually by accident. I was joining an organization in sales, and the guy who was to leave never left. And so I was told, get into KM. The more I read about it, the less I liked it. But I thought there was a possibility. And so in 2003, that's how I joined this organization. And in 2004, I did something which was unique globally. One day I opened the newspaper and I see 100 days to the Athens Olympics. Now, this was the 100th year of the Olympic Games. And I see 100 days to the Olympics. And that got me thinking, what about the Olympics? And can we have a knowledge Olympics? And all the problems that people had been throwing to the game, I put them all into games, and I came out with the Knowledge Olympics. It was very successful. So just to give you an idea, we had 5,500 employees in the company at that time. And management asked me, how many people do you think will participate in the Knowledge Olympics? And I thought maybe around 1,000 people would participate. So I said 800 to be on the safe side. And they all laughed. And they said, if 200 take part, we will call it success. Because, well, they were giving me a chance. So can you guess how many people actually participated in the Knowledge Olympics out of 5,500 employees? You can type it in the chat. You can put on your mic and answer. This is going to be a very interactive session. My colleague Jaidat is sitting here, so he'll be telling me, so some is 2,000, 3,500, 2,000. Well, actually, we had 2,000, 2,000. Well, actually, we had 2,000, we had 2,800. 2,800 people participated. 2,800 people participated. And because of that, I was sent to participate, as a participant in KM Asia at Singapore. And that's where Carl-Eric Sweeby was participating, Leif Edwinson, Dave Snowden. Now, they were the pioneers, the big guns, and they were talking about intellectual. And I came along as a newbie, and Dave Snowden went through my story, and then he called me up on the stage, and he said he presented this case as a case study.
Rudy,
this is a guy
Rudy, I'm stopping you. I'm stopping you. Your earphone is not, your microphone, there's problems. We hear you sort of. So if you have any way to improve your...
I have changed the microphone. Is it better now?
Yes, thank you.
If you have any problem, just tell me, okay? Yeah. So I went to Singapore, and there I met Dave Snowden, and I met Carl-Eric Sweeby and Leif Edwinson. And so in 2004, gamification was something that, so this was the first time anyone had engaged 2,800 participants in a knowledge management program. And that's how gamification came about. If you go on Google and you try and check when was the word coined, gamification, it was coined in 2002 by a guy called Steve Pelling. Okay, so you can just check that out. So we were way ahead of our time. Okay, so I didn't realize at that time how big it is, but I tapped into the natural abilities of people without realizing it. Over time, I've done a number of gamification programs, and then now I've come up with a set of principles which I will share with you. So let's just get into the definition of gamification. So this is by Gartner. So they talk about the use of game design, game mechanics to engage a target audience, to change behaviors, to learn new skills, and to engage in innovation. And the Deloitte University Press talks about it being the essence, fun, play, transparency, etc., applying it to real world objectives rather than pure entertainment. I like to combine both these definitions, and my definition is that the use of game design and game mechanics to apply to real world problems so that we can change behaviors, learn new skills, and engage in innovation. So this really is, gamification is actually serious business. It is not just about play, it is about getting business results. And I'm going to take you through a number of programs that will actually help you to understand how you can create these programs that can create engagement. So what happened is that around the year 2003, 2005, 2000, and so on, the demographics in organizations was changing. And Facebook, etc., was just coming out at that time. And so everyone was talking about the social behaviors. So the social behavior was now put everything online. Okay, earn points, earn recognition. Okay, this was changing, and technology was enabling all that. And attention spans of people were decreasing. The old organization structures were changing. And people are finding that if I tell the new youngsters who are joining the organization, tell them to do something, they are finding it very difficult to get them to do it. Because the old structure was, I tell and you obey. But now there was an entire change. And so this is the new management challenge. Engagement. It's a key management challenge that is facing managements today. So I told you this is going to be a very interactive session. So my question to you is, why is engagement so important? Throughout the session, there's going to be a discussion, there's going to be chats, I will not spend too much time, I've got lots to cover, but I just want some quick answers. Reduce turnover. Okay, to reduce turnover. I think Emmanuel has mentioned, Emmanuel from Indonesia has mentioned that to reduce turnover.
I will add, because people are not adding that fast. I believe that comparing to other issues, knowledge management is not only a matter of change management, but also a matter of trust. So in every change management, we need engagement. But when the essence itself is sharing knowledge and trusting one another in order to do so, gamification can help us a lot also in building this trust and therefore helping out.
Yes, and to add to that, I have seen that Yehuda said that it's more interesting for end users. Manfred says engagement is an enabler for a knowledge sharing culture. There's if there's no engagement, there's no effect. Ved Prakash says it increases the productivity. Marco says it prevents not invented here syndrome. So cognitive connections is what John Lewis has spoken about. So there are a number of answers that are scrolling through, and Dean says, which I like, create a memorable learning and emotional engagement. I think that is what gamification does. It creates an emotional engagement, and I'm going to take you through, as we go through, you'll realize the emotional connect at how it stimulates creative thinking and what Alina mentions here, so it has become popular in the last few years as a method to improve engagement. And the magic here, I'm using it in a limited sense in today's session for KM, for knowledge management implementation, but you could use gamification in any area of your business. Okay, please remember that. So the magic of KM implementation lies in engaging people through activities that excite and motivate them, which makes it more pleasurable. Okay, that's what you all have mentioned also. And this is partially achieved using gamification. Okay, so what I'm going to cover today is that the elements of a gamification program, principles of successful gamification through examples and case studies, and ensuring engagement post a gamification program. And I'm going to talk about ethics. Now, this session, I'm not going to talk about games. Okay, so PUBG, etc., large public games, what you have. Okay, I'm not. It's not about gaming. It's not about business simulations. Okay, so just understand that and keep that in mind. So the first very important slide is gamification has 3 elements. Okay, it's called game mechanics, replication mechanics, and social mechanics. If you want to make a note of this, though I will be going through each of these as I go forward. This is very important. There are 3 pillars. If you get this right, you can get your gamification program right. Okay, so it's game mechanics, replication mechanics, social mechanics. So what is game mechanics? Now in front of me, in front of you, I've put up this snakes and ladders. I'm sure all of you will know this game, snakes and ladders. Anybody who has not played snakes and ladders? I'm sure everyone has played snakes and ladders. So tell me, what is the game mechanics of snakes and ladders?
Game mechanics.
So let me explain game mechanics. It's very simple. You have a pair of dice, you roll the dice. If you come to a number, there is no ladder or no snake, no action, you stay there. If you go to a place where there is a ladder, you climb up. If you come to the mouth of a snake, you come down. Okay, so this is game mechanics. Okay, so for snakes and ladders, it's very clear. It is climb up a ladder, go down a snake. Got it? Let's go to another game. I'm showing you a finishing line. What is the game mechanics when you see a finishing line? Now, I'm not going to answer. I want answers. Okay, so John Lewis says you achieved the goal. Yeah, finishing line is the end of game. So then what happens before that when you see a finish? Competition, correct, competition, target and goal. Okay, so answers are coming in. So when you see a finishing line, what happens? You're hardwired, your brain is hardwired that, oh, I have to compete. I have to come out first. I must be ahead of the race. Okay. So now let me go down here. Is there strategy, skills, and chance involved in snakes and ladders? Is there any strategy in snakes and ladders? Is there any skills in snakes and ladders? Or is everything based on chance? Snakes and ladders only I'm talking about. Share the chat. Okay, it's all based on chance. Now take this one when we talk about the track and field events. Is there strategy and skill to it, or it's only chance? Skill and strategy both are involved. Okay, so keep this in mind as we go through gamification program. When you're looking at game mechanics, how much of skill and strategy does the participant need to put in? And avoid chance. Okay, I may not repeat this about chance, but it may come up again, but keep this in mind, avoid chance. Okay, now I'm showing you another photograph. This is from a different game. Okay, so now in the above picture, track and field, it was an individual event. Here it is a team event. Okay, so tell me the game mechanics of basketball. Is it slightly different? Is it slightly different from Track and field? Yes, there is, because you need to participate as a team. So you keep talking to your team members and you participate. So just keep this in mind. We are now, whenever you see basketball, you see football, you see any games, what has happened? We all hardwired. Okay. So please understand that when you're creating a gamification program, you are actually creating the game mechanics, and people replicate the game mechanics for which they are hardwired. Okay. So tell me now, which games do you all follow? Is there any sport that any of you follows? Quickly. Tennis is there. Yes, tennis is one, right? Ice hockey, wonderful. Cricket, American football. Okay, so now what are the game mechanics? I want you to think. You don't need to give me a response to this. I need you to think carefully on the game mechanics. If you are to replicate a business like Formula One, if you are to replicate something in your business and you're going to use, say, Formula One, or you're going to use American football, what are the game mechanics that you're going to replicate? Okay. Now here is a simple use of game mechanics. Okay, it is using snakes and ladders. It is a very passive engagement. Okay, this is more passive engagement that you can see out here. Okay, you're seeing this. So if you've got high BP, you're smoking, there's a risk of cancer. So you come down the snake. Okay, if you don't smoke, you have a healthy heart. Okay, so you go up. So this is a very passive game, but it's good for beginners, etc. So to teach them something, you want people to remember certain rules and regulations or instructions. This is excellent for this. Now I'm going to a little bit of a complex one. Let's talk about the game mechanics of an Olympics. Don't bother about knowledge Olympics. Just talk to me about, now this, I want you to put on your microphone and speak to me. What is the game mechanics of an Olympics? Speak your name and then call out, please. Speak your name and then call out, please. I think Marco, you're on. Marco, you're on.
Yeah, of course, it's one of the past mentioned. It's competition. If I have an Olympic, it's about competition.
Right. Okay. Anybody else wants to add on to that? Okay. Anybody else wants to add on to that?
There's pride attached to it as well, the national pride.
Yes, national pride. Fantastic, Ved. There's one more I'm looking for. It is for the glory of your sport. Remember this, you're competing for the glory of your sport and the pride of your country. There's a lot of competition involved. Keep this is a very complex game mechanics. Okay, so just keep this in mind. I'm moving ahead. I'm not going to talk much about this. I'll come back to it. When we complete all the three elements, I'm going to come back to this particular one. Why I keep doing this every 4 years, but in one particular instance, I've not done it. Okay, so I'll explain to you the complexity involved in this. Okay, understand game mechanics. Okay, we'll move to the next one. This is replication mechanics. How many of you have played Monopoly or a form of Monopoly? I think it's very popular, right? Now in Monopoly, there are certain rules, okay, that helps the player to progress and for the game to go forward. Okay, so it makes it challenging. Okay, so if you follow the rules, you keep progressing, it makes it more challenging. Okay, and there's a lot of strategy that you need to put into this. Okay, so these are called replication mechanics. Okay, let me explain now replication mechanics, how it looks like. Some years back, Foursquare was a very catchy game. Okay, you had to check in. It was mainly about checking in, getting people to participate. Today on the metaverse, you're going to see a lot of Foursquare getting replicated. Okay, people are buying properties, so they're going to pay you or they're going to give you points to check in. You check into a place, to this place, which your friends have not been there before, you get more points. First time you come to this place, you get 3 points. Your best friend has been there with you for 3 consecutive days, so many points. You can now become the mayor of that particular town. Can you see how they are asking you to come back and come back and come back? Okay, this game really had no, I would say, for the person participating, it did not have any sort of reward except what I'll come to next. Okay, but what happened is that it helped the company to gain a lot of advertising revenue. Okay, so it was a serious game for the company. Foursquare earned a lot of money, and they also sold out at a big sum. Their valuation went up because they had so many millions of people participating in Foursquare. Okay, so this was one of the early movers in gamification. So this is replication mechanics, how it looks like. Okay, so Nike Run Plus Club. How many of you have a smartwatch and belong to a club, or it tells you that now you earn so many points, try for this goal, or you set your goal and it helps you to achieve a goal? I'm sure all of you do that, right? Quite a few of you do. I used to have a smartwatch, but today I like to go back to my old manual watch. Okay, so that's different. But Nike was very successful, and they got people engaged, and they knew actually how many calories are you burning today, and globally how many calories have you burned today. Now you can also, in Times of India, you have replication mechanics. Okay, so if you write an article, if you read an article, if you review a movie, you get you keep getting points. Okay, so I'm going to now show you actual example from my company. We are currently running something called Mission 10,000. Our project, this is a serious game that we are playing. Okay, so here is the replication mechanics that you can see on the right. If you do a kickoff workshop, you get 500 points. If you do an activity-based classroom, 250 points. If you submit an innovation, improvisation is what we call it because it's a trademarked innovation program that we do, you get 1,000 points. So in a year, a project has to complete 10,000 points. This game, what we have created is basically to understand how a project is contributing to a knowledge enterprise, which is our vision. So how do we know that they're progressing? So we've created a point system. So when you just look at the points, the moment they reach 10,000, you know that yes, they are actually doing a good job of knowledge sharing, knowledge capture, etc. Okay, so this is replication mechanics. Okay, any questions on replication mechanics? I'm sharing with you our live point system that we are using currently. Any questions on replication mechanics? You can put on your microphone.
Replication mechanics.
Okay, I'm finally moving to social mechanics. This is where you get public acknowledgement. Okay, and it works for people. If you go to the Economic Times, they've got a leaderboard out here who is earned for that particular day, how many points they've got. They are actually at bronze level, but don't be satisfied that you're number one, you're only at bronze level. So if you want to go to gold level, there are more activities that you have to do on the newspaper. So see, they're engaging you on the media. Okay, and this is a leaderboard. So social mechanics is the last piece of the puzzle that has actually, you can create a game, but if there's no social mechanics, it will not be that successful. Social mechanics is what actually gets people to want to participate and to come out better and better. Okay, so you've got many such examples out here. So which I showed you, that Economic Times, Singtel uses that very effectively. In my own company, we've got the leaderboard for the projects, the different projects that we have. And we did not have the leaderboard for the first 2 years that we were running Mission 10,000. Last year, we introduced it. It was a live leaderboard. And our financial year is 1st April to 31st of March. And this year, my team members who are online, I would like them to switch on their microphone or their video also and share with you what was the difference that you saw this year around the 31st of March as the session, as the year was coming to an end.
Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Prajwal, sir.
Yes, Prajwal.
So we saw that on the 31st of March, all the different projects of our company, there was very healthy competition. Each and for every half an hour, they used to look at this board and they used to look for what more knowledge they can contribute. So for every 5-10 minutes, whenever the score was refreshing, everyone, they were rushing into the submissions.
Yes. Anybody
sir.
else would like to share?
Yeah, one more point was in terms of how the projects were strategizing regarding planning for their final mission 10,000. Different projects are different ways, different categories they wanted to look at, and very smartly they kept on planning in such a way so that once they see that certain projects are increasing or moving ahead in points, they would release a certain category of knowledge assets that would get them back ahead in the race. So a lot of strategy also was being applied. So I think in terms of all these were indicators of the engagement that the projects were having, and also the excitement that they were feeling in seeing their names and the project scores live on the board.
Thank you, Jayada. Thank you, Prajwal, for contributing. Okay, this was totally unplanned, but this year they were saying, why is it that this year we are seeing such a big difference? People are competing so much. This is the first time we actually introduced the leaderboard. Okay, so that made a real difference to the entire program that we were running over the previous years. Okay, so just to summarize on the game mechanics, okay, so you have to promote for skills mainly, avoid chance, there has to be effort. Okay, now my question to you quickly is points for like, points for download. Okay, all of us have been through it. Till when should they be used? Okay, basically don't, you can reduce the points, give one point for it, put more points for actual knowledge sharing. Okay, initially you need points in order that people come to your project, come to your site, etc. and so on, but there's a time when you need to stop using points. Okay, now I'm going to talk to you how all three elements need to come together. Okay, so the three elements in the Knowledge Olympics that we ran, so we had what was the game mechanics. It was basically about the Olympic, the mindset that you're competing for glory of the your nation as well as for the glory. Yes, Moria, you have a question.
I just finished tangents. I know that we spoke about the issue more than one time. I'm not sure about the idea of avoiding chance, because as I understood many times, and I also use it, chance should be a low weight. But adding chance adds excitement, adds a twist, adds a surprise, has some good effects. So therefore, I want you to hear your opinion, because I believe, and I thought that we already spoke about it, the two of us, that chance is okay as long as it's not too much.
So let me tell you, when you have achieved a certain level, then introduce chance. Or do it when you are doing something which is very new and you want people to come to it. They are not very engaged. They're not very certain about it. Use chance. So say, okay, you'll get a gold coin, you'll get this reward, you'll get that reward. But use chance to help them to move to the next level. Later on, you can use chance when they've reached a certain level and now they're saturated. You want them to go ahead. Then you can use chance. But don't design that every point, every level that you move, there's an element of chance, because people who have put in effort will get disheartened. Okay, so you understood where chance comes in. Okay, so, but I like to keep it clear, otherwise people may use a lot of chance. Click on this, you may get a chance to move further. Now, I'm going to show you how the elements have come together in these two very successful programs. So, and they are of different cultures really. So the Knowledge Olympics was all about engaging people But what we had said earlier for the Knowledge Olympics, you're playing for the glory of your sport and for the pride of your country. Many companies have tried to imitate the Knowledge Olympics, but there's one element which I want to tell you, that you're playing for the pride of your country. So what we did, and every year we do it, every 4 years we do it when we run the Knowledge Olympics, is that we create countries. People are no longer playing for their region or for their particular branch office. We create countries. Okay, and we look at the countries that are generally winners, and we create those countries so they have a flag around which they participate. Okay, so that is something very critical. Your games have to be business challenges, and you can rename it as maybe gymnastics, air rifle shooting, whatever you can see on the screen out there. And other thing is that the prize that you get is that you will get a gold, silver, or bronze medal. Okay, we don't give money because Olympics is about gold, silver, and bronze. It need not be the original gold, silver, bronze. People do understand at times. Okay, so but that is really, if you coincide it with the Olympic Games, like all the editions that I have done coincides with the Olympic Games, it creates resonance. People think they're actually participating in the games. You don't have to do much because the newspapers, the TV, your phone, everything is talking about the Olympics, so it drives you to participate. Okay, so this is one element where successfully you use game mechanics, the replication mechanics, as well as the social mechanics. Okay, and then Mission 10,000 is another one where we have basically used the game mechanic. What are the game mechanics in, for a project to do 10,000 points? So it is a team coming together with a goal, that minimum 10,000, okay, that they have to do. Keep this in mind. So these are the game mechanics that you're doing. Their application mechanics in terms of the points. You got a leaderboard to show how you are faring. Okay, so the three elements come together. Okay. Quickly, I want to know, are the three elements sufficient to ensure a successful gamification program? Quickly, I've reached exactly half an hour and I've got lots to cover. Okay, let me answer that. Yes, these three elements are sufficient to ensure a successful gamification program. Ensure that all three are there in your program. Okay, and one more element you need to introduce is novelty. Okay, so if you can create novelty, definitely it will work. Now, what is so novel? If every year in the organization, every 4 years you organize Knowledge Olympics, so every year you introduce Mission 10,000, is there novelty in that? It is a replication mechanics that you actually need to look at in terms of how you actually create the engagement. Okay, so keep that in mind, that even though it is repetitive, there is an element. Also, it has to, since I said it has business goals, every year we tweak the points based on our business objective that we need to meet. Okay, so there is a novelty in that. Okay, look at the business challenges and then work forward on that. Okay, any questions? What about monitoring and iterative improvement? So Stuart French has asked in terms of so I think I mentioned this, that you need to keep changing what the Olympics about. You need to keep changing what the Mission 10,000 is about. Okay, so that is how you keep monitoring. Okay, what are my business objectives? Am I achieving my business objectives? Has something new come in? So then you introduce it in between. So Mission 10,000 runs for a year. At times, suddenly management might say, we now need particular case studies on this area. So quickly you introduce that as a bonus points that are coming in. Okay, so that's your chance, Maurya, that you were talking about. You bring in bonus points at that stage. Okay, so that's how we keep moving forward. Jan has said, I don't understand how the Knowledge Olympics works. Okay, so Jan, let me explain. During the Olympic Games, coinciding with the Olympic Games, we create something called the Knowledge Olympics. So there are business challenges, you make it into games. So let us say that you have let me look at one of the ones that we had done. Okay. We had the decathlon. Okay, so this was basically the marketing department said that we like competition information. There were 10 different things they wanted from the market. So we called it a decathlon. Okay, so we had teams who would compete and say that I'd like to participate. They would like to participate. The more games you participate in, your team wins. Okay, keep this in mind. Countries that participate in the Olympics try to participate in most of the games, as well as they ensure that their people are trained very well, so that they have maximized the chances of winning gold medals. Okay, so the Olympic Games that we create is about business challenges. We coincided with the Olympic Games itself. Okay, and we run it for 15 days. We run these challenges. They are very small challenges. Please remember, you cannot have a big organization change program running through an Olympic Games. Okay, so these are maybe you have got inventory that is not sold for some time. Okay, maybe you've got customer complaints that need to be resolved. So you can create this for 15 days, you run an Olympic Games. Now the learnings from that, you then leverage into your processes. Okay, if you can do it in 15 days, now there are certain learnings that you can leverage into your processes. I hope I've been able to explain the Olympic Games better. So now I'm sharing with you some 6 principles, okay, for successful gamification. Okay, so these are some things that have. Okay, John has asked, are teams already based on organization or put together for the game? Okay, so generally, John, what I've noticed is that, I don't know about your country, but in India, we have branch offices, okay, and we've got regional offices. So what we do is that we try to create people in a homogeneous area. It's also a good way because the sales people mix with the service people who mix with the customer care people. So we create them into a team. So that's what we normally do. Okay, I don't have any other experience that I can share with you. And even in our current Mission 10,000, these are projects. So they are all together, people who are working together in one particular project. Okay, I've not had any experience where I worked across, where I have forced. Okay, in the last slide I will share with you, don't force fit the teams. Let them decide. So this is what I learned from Dave Snowden, is that the social network, tap into the natural social network. If people want to form their own teams, let them form their own teams. Okay, don't force them. Okay, so that's really what we keep doing. I hope I've answered your question, John, to an extent. If you need to follow up, you can connect up with me separately on this. So the first thing is, are you solving a major business objective? Okay, so out here, I've just shown you 2 fruits. So one is stapled together. Are you looking at a patchwork solution, or are you looking at a long-lasting solution? You know, so let us say there was a company that came to me, can you create a game? Basically, we have these people are onboarding. Now, normally when people are onboarding, what they do, they give you points for going through the different, they give you a CD or they give you an online website. And you got to, especially during the pandemic, because there were no physical meetings, what was happening, they wanted to ensure that people read the entire induction, went through the entire induction training. So what they did is that they created a point system for each of these. Okay, and then if you completed the entire thing, you got so many 100 points or 150 points or 1,000 points, and you got a bonus in terms of maybe one voucher that you could, take something online. In those days, only online was working, so you could order something online. Okay, but my suggestion was that, can you not, if you're looking at your company's value system, can you not ask them to create situations and share, in this situation, how would we behave? Okay, in this situation, this is how I believe the company would behave based on the value system that you have. So now you are engaging them in terms of the value system. Okay, so this is about either doing a patchwork solution or doing a root cause, which brings me to the second one. So I had a challenge once that improve the competence of every employee measurably and permanently. So the last 2 words are the most important, and permanently. Okay, so then we came out last time in the design thinking, I had shared with you how we went about the entire challenge. Okay, so you need to understand, are you doing, I normally suggest that all gamification programs has to look at a root cause and how you're solving it. Okay, so this is basically the first principle is that what is the business objective that you're meeting? Okay, and normally as a designer, you should actually look at having a permanent solution, a long lasting or a root cause, addressing the root cause. So is it addressing a root cause? If it is something light, like we have something called a tectonic, every day there's a question that is put out and we get people to reply on that. Okay, and at the end of the month, so we take a topic, maybe it is on contracts, maybe it is on a technical area, and every day we put out a question. Okay, so that's when we have this thing. So that's a very light touch that we do, getting engagement. Okay, Emmanuel is asking, it's an interesting gamification has a beneficial on building engagement among employees. On the other hand, gamification somewhat inhibits the creativity towards innovation. While we engage on the game, following the rules leading to rewards is insisted here. This could kill the if-then questions as key factors for innovation and creativity. Follow the rules of the game might get reward, but could inhibit creativity. What's your opinion? So please read the chat because I'm not reading the whole question. So Emmanuel, in our organization, we have got 1,000 points for innovation. Okay, so if you innovate, you get 1,000 points. Okay, so we allow creativity also to flourish. It is not that you have to be completely structured. Also, what earlier the question that was referred to, what Stuart referred to, referred to, what about iterations? Okay, and monitoring. So what we need to do is that we need to keep in mind variations that come in, requests from employees that come in, and keep modifying. The replication mechanics is which you need to be very tuned into. Okay, so don't think that if you've designed something, it has to be like that. Now, in Olympic Games, it's just 15 days. It's very difficult to fine-tune things. But in a one-year program, it's easier to do it. Okay, I hope I've been able to answer your question. Secondly, look at the culture in your organization. Okay, now this, you can find this diagram. Generally, there are 4 types of cultures: hierarchy, market, adhocracy, and clan. Okay, so adhocracy is basically something like you have got a startup culture. So they are very externally focused and they are basically have a flexibility and freedom to act. Okay, clan is basically where you work within the boundaries. So like McDonald's is a clannish culture because it's very process oriented. So if you want to do something that is a little different out of the way, you've got to ensure that it meets with certain norms, etc. Hierarchy is somewhere where like we are right now, there's management just looks at stability and internal focus, a lot of internal focus rather than external focus. And market is basically a company where I work, which was mainly into connecting up with the customers, etc. And they also looked a lot at differentiation. Okay, so you need to take cognizance of the organization culture. Knowledge Olympics will not work in a hierarchical organization. Keep this in mind. Okay, so where things have to move fast in an Olympic Games, 15 days, it will not work in a culture that requires hierarchy. Okay, keep that in mind. And also then you need to look at in terms of the challenge that you're having. So where does it fall? Okay, is it a complex, complicated, chaotic, simple? Now, if it is simple, so I've just used a very old diagram from Dave Snowden's Cognitive Edge. Okay, so the right side, this side, which you can see is the ordered systems. On the left is the unordered systems. Okay, if it is a best practice, so can you create something that people can quickly share best practices? Okay, if it is a good practice, can you reward them? Can you create something where they will be happy to share their good practices? Okay, now the rewards need not be too high. But when there is emergent practices, okay, something that you new challenges, new markets, your new segments that you're entering and you would like knowledge, okay, so this is where actually a little bit of thought will go into the way in which you design the games. Okay, so here maybe on complex problems or a game like Knowledge Olympics won't work. Okay, so you need to think very differently. in novel situations, a lot of innovations come out. You need to put a maximum points or maximum rewards out here in chaotic situations. So like, for example, if you want to hear what are the good practices that came out from the COVID times, okay, so then you could ask people to share their practices, what they had. You put a lot of points if they are able to implement it somewhere else, okay? So this is where you start looking at the business problems. I'm a little conscious of time, so I'm going faster. Okay, and importantly, there are multiple intelligences. Please take care of multiple intelligences. I've just used Howard Gardner's. There are 6 different types or 8 different types of intelligences. There are many more. Okay, so we use it. I'm going to share with you how we use it in our Mission 10,000. Okay, you should allow people to use their natural ability. Some people are good at writing, so let them write. Some people are good at multimedia, so let them use videos. Okay, so there are different. We had recently, we had done something called November to December. We allowed people to even send in their created theater, so they created drama around it and they sent it in. Okay, so there are different ways in which you get people to participate. We also had artists, so people who are good at creativity, sketching, etc. So we allowed them to participate in that way. Okay, so use Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences. Importantly, there should be resonance. Okay, so if you are running a Super Bowl type of a game, when Super Bowl is on, it will have phenomenal amount of resonance. Okay, I've shown the photo on the left. When I went to the Singapore night safari, I was so amazed because they recreated. In the daytime, it was different. In the nighttime, it was different. You were going to the same area, but you were so immersed, you actually thought you were in a jungle. Okay, so can you recreate that? So by creating maybe a Formula One, maybe during the Wimbledon, tennis, if you create something around those themes, you have, there's more, it's a more immersive experience. The engagement is higher. Okay, and you need to have relevant rewards. Okay, so there could be some people are high flyers and some people who are actually just starting off. So we had the snail for some people just to give them a little bit of a boost. So we had the snail, then they became a kite, and then they become Aladdin on a magic carpet. It has to be relevant to your business and your business needs. So this is a frequent flyer program that actually had miles that you could use on different purchases. So this is, I use this Goki smartwatch. So they have actually created that when you join the application, you get a tracker. Later on achieving certain milestones, they give you a coach. Later on, they give you an expert. Then they give you a doctor. Okay, and then after that, they give you an insurance. Okay, and then they give you yoga, etc. So this keeps your engagement with the company ongoing. Okay, it has to be relevant. So these are some case studies. The Mission 10,000 I've already shared. If you have any questions, the Knowledge Olympics I've also shared. Nike Run Plus Club. Expedition Everest was something I shared during the design thinking workshop. This was one of my most difficult programs that I had because I was told every employee has to be changed. We need to change the employee measurably. Their performance has to change measurably and permanently. So using design thinking principles, we came out with Expedition Everest, where everyone went through the entire process as though they were going through Mount Everest. And at the end, 6 people are chosen to actually fly around Mount Everest. So as gifts, when they started out, we gave them small little bags, backpacks. We gave them, Manfred, I'll come to climb to Everest and not fly. I'll explain that in a minute. Okay. So while we created the atmosphere climbing Mount Everest, so actually you had to go to the base camp, you had to study for 3 months, give an exam. Then you went to the Khumbu Ice Falls. Okay. Then you went to the Valley of Death. Okay. That was Valley of Death is, and these are actual how you'll go from the south column to Mount Everest. And from that particular stage, Valley of Death, we started eliminating people who could not meet the challenges. Okay. They had to then go back to base camp and then they had to catch up. Okay, so they were actually climbing Everest, but because we could not take the employees to climb Everest, we gave them a helicopter ride around Mount Everest. Okay, so that is how you fly to Everest and not climb Everest, though everyone is actually climbing. But it changed people forever. Okay, so that is one of my most successful gamification programs that I've ever run. Okay, though the others also successful. So which principles were involved in these examples?
Please show us the list of the principles so people can remember them as they look at it.
The competition. Okay.
Okay, let's talk about Expedition Everest, Mission 10,000, Knowledge Olympics. So are business challenges addressed? Definitely.
Yeah. Can you please back
Yeah.
to the
Yeah. Then it has to also match with the organization culture. Okay, the macro climate, basically what challenges you had. Okay, so it was this thing, we had learning styles, maybe not. Okay, in this particular case, there was a resonance because people actually believed I'm climbing Mount Everest. There was a resonance and there was a relevant recognition in terms of people kept getting recognitions. By the way, we also gave them promotions, etc. Okay, I had no time to explain that, but relevant recognition. But at least business challenge, organizational culture, macro climate, okay, and resonance. These are the four of the principles. In addition to, of course, the three ones that you have: game mechanics, replication mechanics, and social mechanics. Okay. Now let me talk about some failed programs. The Indian government came out with Sanman list, the honors list for taxpayers, and it flopped. Why do you think it flopped? This is a trick question. Okay. When payment gateways started, we have got many payment gateways. So that time they used to compete for business when you're paying your electricity bill or you're paying your gas bill, etc. So they would say that you could be the lucky one. Okay. And so that failed. There was a frequent flyer point system. And they used to put you into a lottery. Say you put 2,000 points and you could be the lucky guy to get a business class upgrade. Okay. So, and in our own company, we ran the Indian Premier League to coincide with the T20, but it flopped. So my colleague Jaidat is here. Jaidat was part of along with me in designing this game. So Jaidat, I'd like you to tell me, why do you think this particular game flopped in our company?
Peter's asking what's T20? And then it's also adding a comment. I see that you're tracking so I'm not reading it to you.
You want to take the questions first? Okay. Yeah. So talking about this Indian Premier League T20. So Moria, just to answer that question, T20 is a format of a game which Indians like a lot. It's called cricket. The closest equivalent is American baseball, but I think cricket is better. So anyways, I'm biased. But it's a shorter format. So anyone who knows cricket, the traditional format is a 5-day game. This one is definitely a lot shorter, very quick, very fast. And we thought that a few years back when this Indian Premier League was launched, we could run a similar gamification campaign where we would run out some business challenges that we were facing. And we would invite teams to within the organization from the projects to form these teams and then participate in these business challenges. One thing we did well was that, like Mr. Rudolph mentioned, is in terms of getting these people to coalesce together into their own social networks or the social mechanics. So we got the teams to talk about what their team was. I have them identify a logo, sort of design logos around them, and we got a lot of excitement around that part of this campaign. But as we moved on a bit further, I think one of the biggest stumbling blocks that we faced was more in terms of how our organization was structured, and the fact that some of the challenges the sponsors of the challenges did not want to actually go out and give these challenges out to the teams upfront and say that, this is a challenge which you can take up and move ahead. So even though from the team's side, we saw a lot of engagement and excitement to be part of it, at some level, the sponsors were not really willing to, participate fully. And somewhere where the organization culture sort of played a bit of a spoiled sport.
So I think actually short answer is that it was the culture that let us down, so it was not matching with the culture. Lynn has good to connect up with you again after Melbourne. Yeah, so thanks. I remember traveling the bus with you, on the tram with you. Okay, so you mentioned that you think gamification like leading a horse to the water. It's an extrinsic reward. Hopefully the contents of the water provide the opportunity for intrinsic reward. So actually that is the trick. You put it very well in. Okay, so thank.
Oh, we're not hearing you well, Rudy. And we have only 4 minutes left. Rudy? We've lost Rudy. Okay, I hope he recovers.
Can you talk now?
We lost you at the last sentence and you have only 4 minutes left. So you were speaking about Lynn's brilliant comment.
Just a minute, want to try this?
Maybe after you answer this comment, you'll just give some last notes, because I know that we covered. Okay, so Jayadata, do you want to answer the name of Rudy? Jayadata and Rudy work together, are the same team. If you want to finish answering the, oh, here Rudy comes in.
Okay, yeah.
So just, we have 3 minutes left. So finish answering this question. Give us some final notes if you can, please.
Okay, so normally, I think you need to put up the speaker. Who's speaker? Yeah, put up. And please remember that after gamification program, generally people expect that there's a drop off. But we should remember that the principle that we are using is solving business problems in terms of the results that you're getting from the gamification program. Okay, so then that really is the key to ensuring that there is success in your gamification program. Okay, and one of the last few things, you will get this presentation. We don't want you to create watertight compartments that you have to have these many members of this thing. We don't create it. Let the normal social network be at place. You need to address business challenges and get the participation of management. And your current manner of sharing, remember that Howard Gardner has mentioned. So this is how we do it. We ask people to actually create videos if they want to, if they're comfortable. Somebody goes online, we have interviews, somebody wants to write reports. That's how we go about it. Okay, there are some 10 things why gamification works. You could read it. In terms of ethics, my only contention is that genuine interest of the employee or the stakeholder is required. Okay, the choice to participate should be with the employee, but remember, when you're in an organization, you have to participate, you have to go by what the organization requires you to. So what are your views on the ethical aspect of it? Okay, we can get into that. Okay, now there's a question from Emmanuel. Another problem with gamification was getting boring on the long game duration. Do you have any suggestions about the duration, like 1 or twice a month? Okay, Neeraj just said, thanks, very informative session. Apology, I need to drop off. Okay, so just remember that we are running a program which is of 1 year. I ran that Mount Everest, one expedition Everest that ran for 1.5 years. Okay, so you need to decide how to make it exciting for people. So that really is the key to gamification. It needs to be engaging. People need to feel that they're participating, that they're contributing, that they are valued. That really is the key to gamification. Just doing gamification for the sake of running a game, sorry, does not work. It does not gel at all. Okay. There are a lot of resources I put out here. Please look at this. I put Hooked and Nudge also. And these are some of the books that you need to, it gives you a whole background. I put other links that are there. Okay.
Thank you, Rudolf. I know that you could speak about it another 10 days, 20 days, 30 sessions, but we'll have to stop now. Dear all, next week we're going to meet Stephanie Barnes from Berlin. She's from Canada, but now she lives in Berlin, and she's going to speak with us about Radical KM, another way to engage people using creativity and ABIs. What are ABIs? You'll have to stay curious till next week, and we will learn then. So thank you all. Have a great KM journey. Have a great day. Bye-bye, and thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.